into game number 1. So to the top left-hand side, our blue Terran player is going to be souL. Taking on the red Protoss on the bottom right-hand side of Disco Bloodbath, it is going to be Patience. Hopefully these guys... The ping's going to be a little bit funky just for the one CVC today for Patience. Obviously, souL has to play all of his games on NA. These guys seem to be playing with fairly similar pings, so it should even out a little bit. It's one of these tough situations where I couldn't actually run a European-only tournament because it was going to overlap with WCS. I wouldn't get enough players. I couldn't run a Korean-only tournament because I couldn't get enough players because of GSL. So we have to do this little bit of mixing and matching, and just sort of, you know, combine the players. It's a mostly Korean event. We got a few European players playing as well. souL being one of them. So obviously, unfortunately, some of the maps will be played with a little bit of ping, but NA Central is generally pretty fair for European versus NA, Europe versus Korea. It's usually like, you know, we saw Patience in about 170. souL has about 200. It's obviously, it depends where you're in Europe, and I think souL's 200 is one of the worst sort of pings that we see a lot of the time on NA. So, but yeah, that said, obviously the game gets going here on Disco Bloodbath. I mean, I love this map because I'm just excited to see somebody dance on the dance floor. I'm not gonna lie, that's all I want to see. You know, if there's one thing that happens in the TLMC this year, I just want someone to dance on the dance floor. Can you imagine if the map maker put something crazy in? Like, I don't even know if this is possible, but can you imagine, like, if a unit danced on the dance floor, all the lights start, like, lighting up in a special way, and they're like, dance like a real StarCraft party. We can hope and dream, guys. We can hope and dream. As we get ourselves just waiting to see what the direction this game is going to take us in. This probe heading off to the right side, so going to be a little bit sneaky here for a few moments. Just hanging out in the top right. Twilight Council coming down in the main base of Patience, so we're already starting to see his game plan. Going to be Twilight Council focus, which is probably a blink opening here, is what we see most of the time. So Patience set up into that Twilight Council. The factory going to lift up and jump onto a reactor. souL looking after his expansion to open up with some Hellion pressure. This can often lead into a couple of Widow Mines as well, which can be pretty good in these sort of situations. So setting up in towards this at the moment. Couple of Widow Mines on the way out, so he actually cancels the Hellions, chooses Widow Mines instead. Patience going to get fairly aggressive, throws down a pylon on the other side of the map here. So, being the, you know, throwing down this pylon on the top left means that he's going to have some potential to maybe, you know, get very aggressive and blink up into this main. And look at that, a gateway even being thrown down on the other side of the map. So, apparently Patience doesn't want a disco here today. He wants to just go in and kill. A couple stalkers on the high ground. It's one of those maps where it's actually very difficult, if not impossible, for the Reaper to really scout, because as far as I'm aware, because this is double high ground, there's no... Oh, that is actually a Reaper jump up ledge there, right? Oh, that's actually hidden away. Let's look at that on the other side. That looks like a Reaper jump up ledge. I imagine it probably is, actually. It's just not impossible to scout then, as I thought it was. There is some maps, in the current map pool, for example, where there's just no Reaper ledge and so on. And it kind of, you know, dictates a little bit about, you know, what sort of scouting you can pick up. Sometimes it changes the builds the Protoss player will decide to do, and stuff like that, as we do have the medevac coming down to the bottom right-hand side. Now, the blink about to finish up, but there's going to be Cloaked Banshees on the way out. So, if you can get up to Cloak here, there is no detection currently available. I'll tell you what, that gateway is up, but Patience not being aggressive just yet. Those first Widow Mines burrow. Doesn't get any kills with the first Widow Mine. It goes off into the Assimilator. That's going to be another unburrow and reburrow. With only 3 Stalkers, they can't kill it fast enough. And he actually... now he gets the Stalker, but he blinks away. Oh, Widow Mine in the natural expansion too. Only 4 workers killed. Doesn't get a Stalker. A lot of lost mining time is something we can point out, obviously. And that definitely will help souL a little bit. You can see a big peak of income advantage for souL there. So, Patience not mining for a little bit, but obviously we need to get to the point where Patience... you know, where souL can defend this army of Patience. He doesn't have much right now, although again, first Banshee flying across the map, although he did see the gateway, and I think the gateway saw the Banshee. Robo facility now on the way up, needs shield batteries in these mineralized to truly be safe. There is still a bit of time here where these Banshees can, you know, bring something out, I think. this Banshee gets up and Cloak gets going, you know, these Stalkers will eventually go down as well. And now I say eventually, you're also going to have the Banshee on the other side of the map able to get quite a bit done as those Marines are not in the best of positions right away. Marauder out, Banshee Cloak complete, so we will see the Banshee cloaking up. Obviously the Stalker's still able to blink around and trying to maximize their damage here as the SCV is trying to help the fight. Banshee on the other side of the map starts to kill some probes. Robo Facility isn't done just yet, so still no Observer available. There's just so many Stalkers here though. Another Marauder and a couple of Marines coming out. The SCVs will start to fight too. souL has lost a lot as the Bio will continue to push in. That's a blink onto the Banshee, which runs out of energy, and there's no other Banshee on the way up. So that's probably a bit too much damage taken, right? On the other side, though, 14, 15 kills. Still count natches. This natural expansion is just completely undefended. It's just souL still needs to find a way to shut down these Stalkers. Well, he gets a siege tank, and there isn't many Stalkers left, so maybe souL is doing this. And finally, this Banshee back on the other side is going to go down. There's still 30 probes up in the game, though, and 30 probes is obviously a pretty significant amount against 8 SCVs. souL just kind of needed to get a little bit more done. This Banshee actually survives. It gets away. But that was like his one. I mean, maybe if you can loop it into the main base and deal some damage there. I mean, he's down 15 workers, and that's going to be, or not even 15, 25 workers. That's so crazy. That's so crazy as we see that stim pack about to finish. Another Banshee starts up. I think souL realizes the Banshees are a very good way for him to maybe still get back in this. You can see his patience just like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure I did a lot of damage here. I'm going to warp in more Stalkers and see what I can do. This Banshee's still hanging out by the Observer, so it is known about. This probe pulls away. Medevac into the main base. Widowmine will burrow. I mean, honestly, you get yourself 5 workers here. This game is, well, even up a little bit more. I mean, it's still 20 worker difference, don't get me wrong. There's a Warp Prism in play as well. souL has a good army, though, and he has Stim Pack on these bio units as well. So, Stalkers on their own aren't exactly brilliant. Now, there is a few Zealots mixed in now, and Warpins and Charges finished too, so those Warpins can be pretty powerful. souL has to come in from the low ground. Again, losing workers here is going to be very painful for him. As you're going to see the stim coming through, and well, that's a dead Warp Prism. Now he blinks, the tank sieging up, just kiting away from the Zealots. It's another 8 SCVs killed though, and that's the issue here. souL is just going to keep losing workers. More Stalkers blink in actually. There's no healing or anything. Another tank trying to siege up, and now there's going to be a blink to get on top of it as well. And blinking straight through, that siege tank goes down. Game is called. Patience will pick up game number 1 of this 2-game. As we get this ready to go into game 2 on bandwidth. And next time it's going to be souL that starts up a proxy. Aye. Patience at the bottom left is the blue Protoss player. As we have to the top right, the red Siren is souL, who again with this SCV coming across the map, getting this set to go in just a moment. Alright, so as the barracks dropping down. Here on bandwidth, I didn't see too much of this map yesterday, I feel. What series did we see this map on yesterday, actually? Bandwidth we saw in MC, sort of. Ah, yeah, of course. And this was a map that was... It was the map where MC won the game with the DTs after being in a pretty weak position. So, let's see what this proxy leads into. I mean, a proxy Rex Reaper, if the factory comes down at home, can just be a lot of pressure into an expansion here. So Patience, after seeing no Rex at home, is going to throw down a Cybernex core instead of the Nexus here. So he throws down the Cybernex core. Just going to be seeing the setup continuing for the moment, as we do just have that pylon dropping down. Bunker on the low ground from souL, as he wants to just have somewhere he can put those Reapers into. Looks as though he will not be building his factory on that side of the map. He actually pulled out of gas a little bit here, so he's actually not got the gas for factory anyways just yet. And yeah, just going to be the Reaper for the moment. Bunker gets found. I mean, that's the benefit of having the early Zealot. You can shut down something like a bunker building. You see a lot of people nowadays decide they don't need the Zealot, but it does still give you that layer of safety, and the Reaper has to run around and sort of, you know, deal with it for a little while here as well. And you see that Zealot chasing down. Reaper going for the probe or so, a little bit of damage, but Not too much as he hops out and comes back out in towards the center of the map. Pylon dropping here from Patience blocks the initial tech lab. Oh my god, are you kidding me? This probe has been so annoying, blocking the tech lab from coming down. And we are going to be seeing the SCV able to come in, pick off that probe now. And as the Reapers, now 2 of them, actually going to be able to get 2 workers killed, although that's probably all. Little grenades going down, some Stalkers getting bopped around a little bit. As you see that Reaper making its exit up through into the center. Sentry on the way out from Patience here as well, as we have got another now a starport on the way down too, and a command center dropping in the main base. The Rack's flying home, and again it starts to transition into towards this position where both players are going to end up expanding, going to end up going into the next little stage of the game. Alright, so just going to be seeing the Racks flying home and the Reaper coming back. Sorry, give me a sec, guys. I need to mute myself. Sorry, I still have a bit of a cough. And every now and then it's just going to get to the point where I'm going to have to mute myself for a moment or two. So apologies for that as we get this set up. Command center is finished though. Players are done with expansions. And well, a Wood Prism coming out from Patience, so definitely some pressure from him as he has 2 extra gateways about to finish up. Hallucinated Phoenix pops out, and Patience will start to head towards the other right-hand side. souL going down to the bottom left with the Reaper. As we do see the couple of units up into that Prism is going to be seen. And the Reaper, of course, chased down and should be killed. It's actually buying some time for those units. Wow, he doesn't get killed yet. There's another Stalker here which will pick it off. It does buy those just couple of moments or so, which was nicely done as you see the War Prism hanging out. And Hallucinated Phoenix again, just nibbling away at the command center for a moment. Viking helps to clean that up in the end as the Orbital now drops down to the low ground. So that's going to be dropping down into position here. And again, those couple of Vikings of souL just moving around the top. Twilight Council on the board gets started from Patience as well, so getting those started up. And again, Patience's Hallucinated Phoenix coming across towards the upper right-hand side. Going to be moving through as again, the couple of Vikings just going to be able to shut down this information though. So Patience a little bit, well, just denied in terms of getting any info. Man, I can't think of a worse place to have this barracks though. Like, how often do you see Stimpack being cancelled because of like Blink Stalkers or War Prism players nowadays? This just feels like an absolute I don't want Stimpack barracks positioning. And it's a map which has so much space where you could build Stim so safely as well. It's not like Automaton where if you spawn bottom left, your tech labs are naturally pointing to this big blink-up area. So that's, yeah, it's something that's a little bit interesting there. And as we do get this game continuing, sorry, if I just go a little bit repetitive and stuff for a moment or so, it's just because I'm setting up something on the other screen to keep the tournament rolling along nicely overall. So I do apologize if for a moment or so I'm also like, you know, first I'm muting to cough and then I'm like, "Rah, other things are going on," and yeah, I know, I get it. Alright, so as we kick this off, we have got the Hallucinated Phoenix to scout out again. I mean, souL's army, Marines, tanks, he's got +1, he's got Stim. On Patience's side of the map, we do have a few gateways dropping down. Templar Archives is just over halfway done. And again, charge +1 attack about to finish here in the next few moments. Vikings of souL continue to come over as well. Just coming through the south side as we do see the sentries, the Zealots, and the Immortals gathered up between the natural and the third base. So those units just gathered up here as the War Prism from Patience will pop out. Still just looking for some opportunities. Haven't really seen much pressure at all so far this game. Outside of those couple of Reapers early, there's really been nothing lost at all. An Observer got scanned and picked off as well. That's really it. So souL kind of allowed to just sit back. Now he adds on 2 more barracks. So he's going to really push this forwards into like a 5 racks play. It's going to be very 2-base focused. It's not looking to take a 3rd base at all. Patience does expand up towards the 3rd base right now. So just dropping this down. It's going to be seen that single Marine dealing a little bit of damage. A good few probes going down already. Or taking some hits at least. The Marine just gets out. He's got the information he needs. Man, this is interesting because Patience has been very aggressive into a very aggressive souL. So it's kind of this weird mixture at the moment as we see souL dropping to the top side. This hallucinated Phoenix might be right on point to see this. I wonder if Patience saw this with the Observer, and that's why he gets the hallucinated Phoenix up here. At the same time, Vikings drop into the main base. They're surprisingly good against probes. And we'll lose 2 of the 3, however, but he didn't have much use for them. There's no Colossus play coming in. Kind of feels like this is what it was building up to them for, as that's a very low medevac, but no blink. It's kind of okay. Oh my god, the High Templar get found. Both the Storms have to drop already, and that's a lot of the splash damage now just nullified from this army. Scan drops, and the Bio chases those few units away as they pull away to the left. A couple of siege tanks now from souL starting to continue to come through the center. Cyclone locks onto a single Stalker. Just pulling back up to the ramp. Again, another couple of tanks coming over. Ooh, hallucinated Phoenix actually does set off one Widow Mine. It's always a nice little play here. I mean, this is souL's opportunity when these High Templars don't have energy and they don't have storms. This is the best time for him to fight, having baited those out before. It's a good chance for him to keep on pushing forwards here. The tanks full and siege coming right up towards this ledge, perhaps. You have to be careful because you don't want to get too close to the... that's a nice little split away from the storm. I think he saw that one coming in. Expected it to come down. You see the Bio still pressing through. Yeah, you don't want to bring the tanks right up to the edge because then the Immortals can actually just shoot them down. And his Patience is still actually backing quite far away. Observers are going to sit overhead on this army now as well. Leads with the Marauders, which are generally a little tankier than Marines, so won't having those in the front line. This is generally the way to do this. Unfortunately, Burrows those Widow Mines just a little bit too late to stop it from going off on one single Zealot. Still builds a third base behind this. So continue to get set up into a follow-up here as it is kind of Patience who has to attack into this more than... It's weird because like Patience kind of has to attack in to stop souL from just going in and out, and just continue to trade and back away. Big push into Patience. The Zealots on the right side got destroyed by Widow Mines. You see the Prism getting set up to warp in a few more units as well. That extra upgrade on the Protoss army will be helping out a little bit too. I think the biggest thing here though is the fact that a lot of these Immortals are staying alive, and those Immortals are very difficult to truly get rid of. They're so tanky, they're all full of shields, they all have their barriers, so it's a very tanky affair. And we're going to be seeing the Bio continuing up to the high ground. Well, sentries will go down. I mean, now these Immortals don't have anything in front of them. You can target a couple down, but then the Prism Light throws there as well. And so souL will have to back away. Patience has a bunch of money. If he can just throw a warp in down, he'll be able to probably push it in. We might be able to push in and kill anyways. I think there's too many Immortals. Patience pressing forwards. Going to be sitting down on this low ground here with these Stalkers, Immortals, etc. These Stalkers have to blink away over the right side. The Bio continue to press through. Mortal lifts up into the warp prison themselves. Continue to charge forwards. That's GG. And Patience will take the second.